just because I'm still trying to figure out the functionality with this recording, and I'm trying to get my mic right and make sure I'm not sounding like a, I don't know, blowing into the mic and sound like an idiot. Um, so I got a bunch of topics I can talk about. This one I wanted to talk about that's super important right from the get go is firing bad customers, and in the context of what we're talking about when it comes to digital real estate, evicting bad tenants is the way I want to think about it, and the way I want to try to pitch that to you. Um, because it's super important to get this mindset right, and a lot of people will struggle with this, and they will not actually follow through with this because they'll be way too emotionally involved with the money that's coming in versus the damage that's being done. And this is something that I established in my own mind a long time ago, and it's been one of the best things that I've done over the course of the long term. And I haven't spent a bunch of time trying to figure this out. I just knew I wanted to talk about it, but it's super important to realize that our willpower and our energy, our capacity to deal with stress, our creative capacity, all these things are finite resources. And when they're being um, expended on the wrong things that drain that, that's counterproductive. So I just want to give you some pointers to look out for, and I want to encourage you, especially if you're new with this, and this to me applies to everything. And some of you may disagree with this, some of you may be able to function differently. This is for me. I look at it pretty black and white. If I have customers that are not the kind of people that I want to do business with, that are draining my energy, um, that's energy that could be spent on more productive things, like getting new, better customers, the kinds of people that I want to do business with, and also other creative things that are going to expand my business and not keep me drained here. And I just look at it as I'd rather my competition deal with the shitty customers. I'll look for the good ones. I'll just enjoy life more. I mean, I guess if your objective is pure money, then I don't know. So take this with a grain of salt, take it, fit it into your own perspective. This is not a one size fits all solution. I'm just sharing my perspective on it. I tend to want to enjoy my work more and working with people that are not my kind of people, and I'm really really motivated by or I'm really, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm super turned off by people that are not reciprocal. Super turned off by people that are disingenuous and fake. Super turned off by people that don't function in life with a win-win perspective. And I have zero fucking patience with it when it comes to business. Zero. Like when a customer starts to reveal that to me, they're gone. It's over. Like to me, it's like you've showed me your hand, and there's no going back from that. Apart from there being a incredible life-changing event that snaps them out of that and causes them to really change their perspective and how they operate as a person. Once they've shown me that, man, it's like that's the beginning of the end, if not the end for me. Because dealing with people like that is a drain. I have some pretty strict boundaries in my life when it comes to friends and people that are involved with me, and that's one of them. I don't tolerate people that are gossips. I don't tolerate people that are disingenuous. I don't tolerate people that are two-faced. I don't tolerate people that are fair weather friends. I don't tolerate people that are fake. I mean, I tolerate them outside of my boundaries, but I sure as hell don't let them into my life because you're just asking for a disaster. So the same is true here. So some of the things to look out for. Sometimes people will haggle, and you can tell that the haggling is from a place of, it's not a win-win place. It's not, they're trying to find a fair arrangement or a fair price when it comes to things. They're trying to nickel and dime you as low as they can for their own benefit. Those people, they're, to me, they're toxic. And they're toxic in the sense of business. I get that. To me, that's an old school perspective of operating like that. It's not something that's necessary. I'm seeing less and less of it now because people are understanding the value of being reciprocal. People are understanding the value of having good two-way business relationships and the importance of it. They're becoming less short-term thinking, I think, in a lot of ways. So hopefully you'll encounter that less. Doesn't mean they're a bad person, but when somebody's in that mode, which interestingly enough, I just fired a customer that right from the get-go I had heard from one of their other vendors that I was collaborating with. You know, he kind of made an offhanded joke about this particular customer. A, not paying their bills, and B, trying to whittle vendors down to as low as they could. And I got that sense right from the second that I shook hands with them. And long story short, they got behind on their bills. And that was the way that they operated. And I was just done. Like, nope, I'm not playing this game. I don't need it. And this is the foundation of it. And this is the foundation that I want a lot of you to operate in as best as you can. As much as you want to make the sale and as much as you want to start bringing in income, you're going to be learning how to sell here. And one of the most important perspectives to have when it comes to selling is I don't need your business. I don't need the money. Because then that stops you from ever coming across as desperate and allows you to have a backbone in the selling interaction. So even if you do need the money, even if you're desperate for it, you got to learn how to develop that mindset of I don't need the money. And to me, I had it right from early on, not as strong as I do now because I needed it more back then. Now it's like I don't need it, and I sure as hell don't need the stress of dealing with the wrong people. Don't want it, don't need it. You can take your $75, $150 a month and shove it. I don't want it. It's not worth the hassle to me. So I'm kind of scattered here, but if people nickel and dime, and you can tell, like they're not just trying to they're not, coming and saying, hey, things are tight, I'm just trying to make this fit, I'll accommodate that all day long, as long as I know they're being sincere about it, because I want to help businesses. And if I have room to move and they're not going to demand too much of me, I will be flexible on that. But if they're the kind that are trying to whittle you down, no, like that's immediately a massive red flag that I'd just rather not move forward with it on them, or give them a little bit of space and see if they continue, and if they continue, then just end it. It's not worth it. People that repeatedly get behind on their bills, that's stressful. I mean, every time I look at my receivables, it pisses me off, and it'll piss you off too. And I slowly, same thing. It's not as big of a deal to me. Once it gets past like 3 months, my invoicing software, the invoicing software you'll use, it has automated reminders that get sent out. You have to enable that, but I let that happen, see what they respond, and after, if it's 3 months, like you have 14 days and your website's being disabled and suspended, and then it's $100 to get it going again, and you got to pay the outstanding balance, and if you don't, it's over, shut it off. Just not worth it again, and I typically just write off. If they're not going to pay that outstanding amount, I don't let my mind go down the road of chasing after that, because that's just playing life on defense, and that's something that's so draining. And you might say, well, people take advantage of you. I don't see that happening. Again, because I'm pretty particular about who I'm working with, and I'm making sure I'm not working with people that have a propensity or any indications that they're going to operate in a way that they're trying to take advantage of. So I weed those people out pretty good, and I just don't worry about it. Good people won't do that, and it's just one of those things. It's like I have only so much energy, so much time, so much capacity for stress. I don't want to go down that road. It's not worth the fight to try to get that. I'd rather move on and use that time to acquire new customers, expand things in a more positive way, use constructive, creative, productive pursuits. instead of wasting the energy on a fight. But that's me. You can do whatever you want with that. And again, people that operate, and this is all kind of the same win-lose. You know, it's me versus them versus me. The more that they can drain out of me for their benefit, the better. That's a bad toxic. This is relationships. That's a toxic way to function in a relationship. It's win-win, and I'm telling you, when you have good customers that pay you what you're worth, and this isn't going to happen right off the bat, so it's a tough thing to navigate, because you want the business, but you also want to make sure you're not tying yourself into the wrong people, because if you just think about scaling something, you scale what you currently have and you got 10, 15, 20 customers that are all a pain in the ass, that are difficult. The more of that you have, the harder it's going to be to scale. So it's important to lay that foundation from the get-go, but you also obviously, I want to see people get sales, because that's the most motivating thing. When you see this work, it's the most motivating thing that there is. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, my perspective. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. Everybody's going to be different, but I think it's super important to make sure you have the right customers. I think no matter what, I just think it does. There's so many good-willed people out there, and you can lay this down. That's part of the fun of it too. If you're in a scenario with people that you can see that they're not operating within the boundaries that you want to set up and operate within, it's fun to just tell them, because it's like, I got nothing to lose. I'm literally getting rid of you anyways. I have nothing to lose. So, it's part of that thing about being courageous and vulnerable, and taking a chance, doing things that tend to scare you. If you're non-confrontational, I don't know. I mean, I don't shy away from confrontation. So for me, I don't enjoy it at all, but I'm not afraid to engage in it. I am afraid to engage in it. I do it anyways. Sometimes is the right thing. Just because you do something, I really trying to watch how I'm saying that. Like, I tend to say I don't care what people think. I do care what people think, but I act in spite of it. I don't fearlessly attempt shit. I attempt stuff fearfully, but I do it anyways. So I'm just trying to make that clear, so that people don't have to think that they have to, I gotta be, armored up and free from being fearful when it comes to doing these things. It's like, no, it's gonna require courage, because of the fact that you're gonna feel that fear, but you gotta do it anyways. So, but when you're in a situation like I just had, I'm dealing with it actually with another customer that was related to the other one that I was talking about, actually. Real pain in the ass. I can tell they're making issues about things, and I don't get this much. So when it happens, it's like, I don't want this. I don't like this at all. It's like, give them an ultimatum. It's like, look, it just seems to me that you're trying to use whatever excuses there were. Here's what it was. I'll just tell you the story real quick. They're complaining that their web form doesn't work, and on their site, I use JotForm, which JotForm is one of the top third-party web form services out there, and I use it because it's stable, secure. I've been using it for 7 or 8 years with minimal issues, but they're saying they're not getting submissions on their site, or they're saying people are having problems, and we've tested the hell out of it, and there's no issues. I get their emails coming to my client email account so I can monitor leads that come in. There's no issues. And so it's like, it seems to me like you're just trying to do this because you don't want to pay your bill. So I just told them straight up. I said, look, if you want us to, we'll rebuild you a custom one on another platform. This is what it's going to be. You're going to pay up front before we do any work on it. And this is what I do with people when they start to become a hassle. Anything else from here on is paid up front. Usually with most of my clients, I will defer payment until the end, depending on the size of the project. But because it's a trust thing to me that communicates trust. No, we'll do the project and you can pay at the end. So with this, it's like, no, here's your option. If you want us to do that, we can do it, but you have to pay up front. Here's what the cost is going to be. And if this continues, this is the sense I get, is that you're trying to do this. If it continues, I'm gonna have to part ways with this because I don't need it. It's, to me, it doesn't seem like you're operating in good faith. No, I have no interest in it. I haven't heard anything back because I think that that's exactly what's going on. But you know how much of a relief it is to just have that conversation, because you know what, I just, you're gone, done, over. I don't need it. I just don't need it. When you've come to that place in your mind where it's like, I don't need that from them. I don't need it. I don't need it from any of them. It just makes it that much easier because there's clarity. You know what your boundaries are. Um, it just makes it easier. You know where you stand. You're not going to be pushed around by people. It's no fun being pushed around by people at all. That is a very bad place to let yourself get to in any situation, I think. And you know, part of that is just having those boundaries and knowing exactly what you're going to put up with, what you're okay with, and what you're not okay with. I'm not okay, period, with anybody screwing around, doing things habitually that are less than operating in good faith, trying to take advantage, all that stuff. So anyways, this was partly a test, but I think there's some good nuggets in here for you. Would love to hear your feedback one way or the other, so please let me know what your thoughts are and how this has benefited you, or anything. Open to all feedback. Catch you on the next one.